So I got to decide, do you want sunglasses on or off? Because it's not as easy to do that later.
I think being a drummer served me well.
Okay, it's completely yours right now. I'm not touching a thing.
Halfway through this first lesson, I was hovering with all 4 controls.
You have got it completely. You've had it now for 10 seconds. Not even touching them. You are a helicopter pilot.
But it didn't start off that smoothly.
You've got the cyclic.
I got it. And that's me? Wow.
It's you right now, yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
It's cool to see the wheels turning and the light bulb moments as I learn to hover in real time. Well, it had to happen sooner or later.
Ready?
Adding a helicopter to the logbook.
This is an Enstrom 28F. It's got a piston engine, Lycoming turbocharged engine in it.
But this is not a one-off. It's the start to the process of documenting learning to fly rotary wing.
Stand back and actually pay attention. I'm ready to go fly. Is there something hanging on the skid? Do I have the wheels off? Everything untied. People have gotten into trouble so many times with airplanes and helicopters as well.
Yep, just stand back, take a minute.
Yeah. In fact, I probably would like to, and I want to see everything turning freely, make sure there's nothing hanging off of it, pitot covers uncovered. And often I like to leave a blade, depending on the helicopter you fly. Sort of like to leave it visually. I can sort of see what's happening at that point versus if the blade is out of sight. So I'll know immediately when things start turning.
And I think that's a good habit for any aircraft. The number of times people try to go with chalk seeing or
Absolutely.
still tied down.
Absolutely.
So in a helicopter, you've got the same kind of instrument package that is going to be very typical for airplanes. Probably the biggest difference is the tachometer here. Right now it looks like one needle, but there's actually 2 needles here. One of them is for your rotor RPM, and that's the inner scale. The other is for your engine RPM, and that's the outer scale. The rotor is disengaged to begin with. We go through the procedure of engaging it once the engine is running.
We've got the engine started, we can get the rotor engaged. We're waiting for temperatures to come up.
In this particular Enstrom, when the engine is just idling, there's a little bit of a drag on that belt, and the rotor does start moving around on its own, but it's not engaged at that point. You could literally stop it if you wanted to.
Collective's down and locked. Check the pedals in the neutral position. Cyclic will end up centering it. I'll hold on to it in a minute here. Again, we're already turning, so any personnel out there would realize that. We're going to bring the throttle up to about 1500 RPM, and then we'll slowly engage the clutch until the engine RPM drops to about 11 to 1200. You don't want it to go below that. And we're just going to keep inching up that clutch until the rotor RPM comes up. When the rotor RPM reaches 100, then I can fully engage it. So right now you can see you've got that split needle, and I'm not letting the engine RPM go below 12. Slowly bringing in the rotor system.
You're playing with the throttle so that happens?
Nope, throttle's not getting moved at all. So you can see I got the rotor RPM almost up to 100.
Then you can go ahead and fully engage it. The 2 needles will come up and they'll marry, and that's the term that's used. And at that point, it goes back like it is now to looking like a single needle, but there's actually 2 needles, the rotor RPM superimposed over the tack.
So literally it is like a clutch in a car.
It is literally like a clutch, and it would be literally like slipping the clutch. Let it out too quick, you're going to stall the engine.
Right.
And damage things as well. So you want to be a little careful on that.
Just got to decide, do you want sunglasses on or off? Because it's not as easy to do that later.
And then once you're flying, now things sort of switch a little bit, because flying helicopters generally is always two-handed. It is sometimes impossible to reach down to change a frequency, or it's impossible to reach over and grab the flight manual and relax a minute and go through an emergency procedure.
If you want to get your hands, feet on the control, and collective and all of that, I'll walk you through it.
So you have 4 major controls with helicopters. You've got the cyclic, which is going to provide lateral control. And the pedals down there are not rudder pedals, they're anti-torque pedals. You've got the collective, which basically is lifting the helicopter up. It's also adding more power. And so when you're doing the collective, it's got to be in coordination with adding more throttle.
Trim seems to be just a little stiff right now. I'm not getting total neutral on the stick. Once we get up and hover, you might have to be holding more force than you'd like. You should be able to trim it out so there's just zero force there.
Okay.
So that could make things a little more complicated here. As we add power, you're going to have to add just a little left pedal. You'll feel that coming in. So again, as we come up, get the front end up a little bit, and then bring it on up.
So we'll start out giving you cyclic control, and I'll get it over a spot, and we'll stop in the air at that spot. I'll keep the collective. I'll be dealing with the throttle, and I'll be dealing with the pedals. And your only job is just to keep us over that one spot.
Okay, so I'm going to let you sort of feel it. You've got the cyclic.
I got it. And that's me? Wow.
It's you right now, yeah.
Holy shit, dude. Yep. Well, now we're climbing. That's just because you want to get away from the ground.
Well, some of that is because as you're moving around, everything changes, but I'm trying to keep altitude sort of standard.
I do feel like I'm needing to put a lot to the left.
I got it.
You got it. I felt like a lot of pressure to the left.
Okay,
is that
so
what you're saying?
Yeah, let me see if I can't trim that out here. Yeah, it's feeling a little nose, like I can't get any more nose back trim.
Okay.
So right now, if I just let go of it here, I'm not going to totally let go, but let it go where it wants to.
It's going nose down.
It does that. So you're going to have just a little back trim. So you got the cyclic again. I'm right there with you. So it's yours. And
yeah, I'm getting really undulated.
That's okay. That's always the start of it. So as soon as you start to think about it.
But if you're actually thinking moving the cyclic, you're probably way overcorrecting at that point. You almost have to just think about it, and it's going to start to happen.
So the reason why we moved sideways was because I pitched it slightly sideways and it ended up going that way?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. It's really a question of trying to stay perfectly level, right?
Yeah. So just be thinking it. Just a little bit of movement like this. I mean, I could sit here and do this kind of thing. And we're fine, but I'm all the time holding just a little flat back pressure because I'm not able to get that trim out. So
you don't want to be looking down through the chin bubble. You want to sort of pick something a little bit farther out, and you're going to be using peripheral vision. And I don't think you'll have any problem. I think you'll catch on pretty quick.
Okay, maybe we have to throw some weight in the baggage. So I'm going to let you have the cyclic again, and it's yours. Just keep it. There you go. There you go. Back pressure. There you go. You got it. Looking good. Oh yeah, you're going to be a helicopter pilot. Oh yeah, this is all you here.
Okay.
But once it starts, don't let it get away, because once it starts going, it's really hard to get it back.
It's undulate, yeah.
Okay. Oh man, rock steady. Oh yeah, you got it. Okay, so I'm not going to throw any complication in here. I want you to stay over this spot. But I'm going to go ahead and just rotate us just slightly to the left.
That's you. Okay, I thought that was me.
Yep. Okay, so now we're 90 degrees this way, so keep me right here. And I'm going to go 90 more degrees to the left. So again, we're rotating, but you're keeping us laterally over to the center of the runway.
Once you're starting to feel comfortable with what kind of control input you need on the cyclic,
you're doing good, real good.
Then I'll probably take that back from you and say, all right, now you've got the collective.
Why don't you play with the collective a little bit? Just pull it up a little bit. It goes up.
That's a lot, eh? So it's really just pressure.
Yeah.
It's more force than I expected.
Correct. And no hydraulics on it. You're getting the real feedback from everything.
Okay, so I'll just have to keep it in one place.
Yeah.
So once you get in one place, you probably shouldn't need to move it much, right?
Correct. So I'm going to let you take the pedals. I'm going to keep us in this position, and I just want you to just squeeze a little bit of left pedal when I tell you to, and we're just going to do what would be called a pedal turn, okay? And then you can stop it by squeezing opposite pedal. Once you start going, it's going to go.
The standard helicopter that most people are going to get trained in will have a counter-rotating rotor system. Bells do, Enstrom does, Robinson does. The French like to rotate the other way. In this case, when we're lifting up and adding power, just naturally you're going to be adding in some left pedal to counter the torque. If you're flying an A-Star or a helicopter that rotates the other direction, it would be just the opposite.
Yeah, I think the good news for me is that I fly so many things, I don't tend to try to memorize right rudder for power or whatever, just because in the end it's what it needs, give it what it needs.
That is exactly the way to be.
Yeah.
And that's what I would want the student to feel.
Yeah.
So even in debrief, I might say, what pedal did you use? And you might have a hard time coming up with the answer.
What you don't want And I'm not even going to demonstrate too much, but you really don't want fast movements like that. That's just, everything goes to pieces really quick. So it's just, everything you do, smooth and slow. If we're doing a hover taxi, no faster than a brisk walk.
Roger.
Okay? You can keep your hands on the collective and the cyclic, but just go ahead and you got the pedals. I'm right with you.
Yep.
I'm just taking pressure off, so now you got the pedals. And just go ahead and practice just a left pedal turn. Stop me at 90. There you go, nice and easy like that. And bring me another 90 degrees, actually do 180 this time.
Like way back to where we were facing initially?
Yeah, go ahead, do 270 all the way back. Okay, no faster than that, just nice and easy. There you go. Smooth, slow is smooth, smooth is good. Okay, so which control do you want? You want to take cyclic again?
Yeah.
Okay, so the cyclic is yours and the pedals are yours at the same time. I'll just deal with the collective. Okay, they're all yours. I got pressure off of both of them, not even touching them. Just guarding them.
So the climb, what was causing that?
Oh, you get a little air current here and there, and maybe not on top of things, but anytime you change, like put in some right pedal, it changes the engine, RPM, everything changes. It all works together. So any input in one is going to, without even thinking, is going to require a little bit of an input with all the other controls.
Throttle on helicopter is on the collective. A lot of the early piston helicopters, when you added collective, if you didn't roll the throttle on, you would immediately bog down the engine, the rotor RPM would slow down. So it's a combination of when you're going up, you're twisting, when you're going down, you're twisting the other direction. Probably the best way to learn to fly a helicopter is with just a manual throttle control. You really start to understand what's going on. If we get up in the air and I just twist the throttle a little bit, even keeping it within the green arc, you're immediately going to feel a need for pedal correction for the torque. Same with if you just pull up on the collective, you're going to also be feeling that same kind of need to add anti-torque. And that is again why I would prefer that initial training, you understand, you get used to using a throttle. But by far, when you're actually flying helicopters, if they've got a governor on it, it makes flying way, way easier for the pilot.
But bottom line, I mean, you're going to want to add throttle if you add collective because you're asking it to bite more air. And
that is exactly correct in a manual.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
So and then this stays where you leave it with the throttle. It's not like a motorcycle that springs back.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I could roll it on a little bit, and it's going to stay right there.
Okay, so it's pretty much yours. I got you got the collective as well. I'm guarding everything, and see if you can do. Okay, it's completely yours right now. I'm not touching a thing.
As soon as you said that, it kind of tripped me out, but I got it.
You have got it completely. You've had it now for 10 seconds. Haven't, not even touching them. You are a helicopter pilot. See, you're as rock steady as I was.
Don't jinx it.
Okay, I'm going to jinx it. Do a 180-degree pedal turn to the left. See how it's starting to sink? Losing a little power.
I'm climbing. There's an aircraft, a floatplane. That's good. Doesn't affect us.
Doesn't affect us. It's
You want 180 right here?
Now bring me over to the center of the runway. Just laterally move a little bit to the left there. And that would just be with a cyclic. You don't have to do anything with the pedals.
Start climbing.
Yep.
I want to get down on this.
Then just push down a little bit on the collective.
Yeah, that's just thinking pressure, eh?
Just thinking pressure. Just think it. Okay, I have not touched the controls since you took them over a minute and a half ago.
Yeah,
Bring it back down.
Getting a little floppy here. Okay, that's it. There we go.
Okay, pedal turn 180 to the left. You're smoothing the turns, that's great. And you're right over your spot, that's excellent.
Oh, we're a little bit behind it. Should I bring us back forward over there?
Yeah, if you want to get back in the picture frame.
So this was a definite light bulb moment when I realized after completing this turn that I had been slowly drifting that whole time outside of the frame that I had locked off for that camera. So it was really cool to just figure out how to slowly hover taxi and get it right back to where I wanted to get it without overthinking it.
Right about here?
Yep, and then go ahead and just ease down on the collective. Ease down, we're just going to bring it down. I'm with you now. I'm not touching them, but we're just going to sort of put it down on the skids. Keep coming down.
I'm trying to be gentle.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. That's intense. That's a lot of gentle work.
Yeah, after that it's like, roll your shoulders, roll your neck.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, you did good.
The Enstrom does not have hydraulics. It's actually a well-tuned system. It doesn't need hydraulics. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, but you will feel a bit of a stiffness, like it takes a little bit of an effort to move.
After a quick break to debrief on the ground, we were back at it for round 2.
So it's all yours right now.
Are we close to the trees with the rotor or not really? You're good with that?
No, I'm good with that. Okay. And I am totally off the controls. So you want to play around with it a little bit. You can do some pedal turns. It's going to go a lot faster a pedal turn to the right because that's the way the engine wants to do it.
Right.
That's why I've been having you do them to the left because when you do them to the right, it can actually get away from you all of a sudden. You go way too fast. You need to practice those, but to begin with...
I'll do one to the left.
Okay. And again, let's slide over just a hair this way.
Okay. Right from here, and then I'll continue the turn.
Yep.
And flying away, there we go.
Just a little more throttle here.
Is that you or me?
I'm just trying to roll the throttle on just a little bit. There we go. I'm not touching anything.
Now we're climbing. So I need to be less collective?
Yeah. And again, it may not be because you put in too much collective, but just if the wind shifts a little bit, everything changes. So you're always adjusting for the environment, and you're adjusting for whatever control inputs you put in.
Okay, so I'm going to fix that. Right there. Okay.
Good.
You want that one to the right?
Sure.
Let's get my collective figured out here.
And we want to get up about a 4 or 5 foot hover is comfortable. This is probably a little low.
Too low, okay.
Just because if you ended up also dropping and catching a skid, you could have a dynamic rollover, just like a heartbeat.
Bad day. Okay, so we'll keep it about here.
This is good, yep.
Stabilize. Okay, going right. I see what you mean. It takes almost...
I want to get up just a little bit higher. Only because I want to have a little more margin for you.
For sure. Yeah, it takes almost no pedal to go right.
No.
And we'll stop it here. Alright, then back to the left 180.
Yep. Okay. You feeling good?
Yep.
Hey, you're doing good. Go ahead and try to set it down, just nice and gentle. And if anything, sort of think moving it forward just a little bit as you're bringing it down. I mean, you don't have to, but that sort of keeps you from drifting back, and you'd rather be drifting forward just a hair.
Like that, or that's too fast?
That's too fast. I guess I'm saying I don't really want to see you drift forward, but sort of think that, or you'll end up reaching for the ground and never getting there, and then you're drifting back, or you're drifting sideways.
Yeah, we don't want that.
You don't want sideways movement.
Okay, so I'm going to bring it back up and try that again.
Okay.
Back it up. That's right from my proper spot here, right about here, park it.
And again, look farther out.
Yeah.
Don't be looking through the chin bubble.
Well, I'm definitely not looking through the chin bubble.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to get stable. Okay, coming down.
There we go. Just keep coming down. There you go. And then collective down. Good job.
Oh,
Tiring, isn't it?
that's good, though. It's good.
Yeah. And when you do get it down like that, you don't relax. First thing I'm going to do is put the collective lock on, and then I can start rolling off the throttle a little bit as well.
I feel like I think my drumming is definitely helping me not have to think about which hand is doing what.
I knew you'd be able to do it, and like I told you the other day, if somebody comes to me and they are a heavy equipment operator,
right, because they have to do all kinds of hand-eye coordination.
I know you can teach the hover, yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to capturing and sharing more of this training. Thanks to Patreon supporters and sponsors for helping produce it.
If we were in a field, I'd show you some more high-speed sideways flight.
I think for a first one, that's pretty good. My brain is nearly melted already.
Okay. All right, we're coming in for good.
Good stuff. That was good. That's pretty much the mission plan you had in mind, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
This one actually came out of a much larger production trip to Alaska. I want to thank Tim and Martin from APEX Aviation for inviting me out there. There's a lot of great stuff coming. Meantime, keep your flight chop sharp. Yeah, I didn't know what to think leading up to it or how hard it was going to be. But I think you're right, it wasn't about thinking. Initially I was thinking, and it was like, oh, what am I doing wrong? It's all over the place. And then it's like, stop thinking about it. As soon as I stopped thinking about it, I could feel it lock in.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're thinking of what to do next, you're already behind.
You're behind. You're going to just undulate, and you'll never. Yeah.
And what you'll find is the next time we get up, it's just going to snap together that much quicker, and then pretty soon, unless I really throw something at you, that's going to become second nature.
That's awesome.
Second nature.